to identify who did it.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more, Ross?
Yeah.
And usually, Dad, I got my Uncle Dan coming in at 11:30 with his big old truck. Dad'll talk a little bit more about
Wound up. Oh, wait, almost behind the road.
It sharpens iron.
Yep.
Yeah.
3. Look what I did. 3, 2, 1. Guys, welcome back to What's up, guys? Welcome back to the MacCast. Looking a little different tonight. Doing a Sunday evening podcast here. We're toughing it out in the studio. Dad's at the house, taking care of my stepmom, Ryan's mom, his wife. Patty had knee surgery. Prayers and thoughts to her and Dad. So Dad's joining us via Zoom. And then we just wanted to get an opportunity to get on here and talk a little bit of ball before we go into the Super Bowl weekend. Make our Super Bowl picks. Kind of talk a little bit about some of the news at Ohio State and Cleveland Browns and get your opinions on those things. And I say we roll right into it. So we got some exciting stuff down in Columbus.
Yeah.
Arthur Smith, a big hire for the Buckeyes. Adding another NFL caliber coach to the staff, which it seems to be the direction. What's your thoughts, fellas?
Well, first off, I think Dad is the only smart one out of us three. He's in the house where it's warm.
Yeah, it's
A little chilling on his own chair. You'll see as he's on Zoom right now, and he's taking care of Mom, and it's been a battle. Dad has a battle win as well, unexpected. We won't go too much into that, but Dad's been being a trooper and helping Mom out, and becoming both roles. Cooking food, I heard today. I walked in there and it smelled really good. He was making goulash, I think is what it was.
Make some goulash.
So yeah, he's doing both roles. But yeah, Ohio State getting another pro-minded guy in their locker room. He's got to bring a lot of experience to the table, as Ohio State has been over the years of throwing a NFL roster. If you mind to say that, you looked at Georgia and Alabama the last 10, 15 years. They used to have the dudes. They used to always have the NFL caliber teams. Now Ohio State has definitely jumped into that role, and it's kind of taken the lead almost, it seems like, with those top-notch guys with Caleb Downs, and you got Jeremiah Smith, and you got Cardinal Tate, big first-rounders. You're looking at this year in the draft already. We got 4 to 5, 6 guys gone in the first round they talk about, and they've been talking about how excited the Buckeyes players have been in pro right now. When you look at some of the guys with Smith and Jigbo, what he's doing. When we look at Buka, what he was doing for Tampa Bay, he was running away with Rookie of the Year, and then he kind of slowed down a little bit towards the end once the matchups get a little bit tougher. But that has to be excited for Columbus, and Ryan Day is super excited. How much is he going to let Smith take over? He calls it a home run hire. What's your thoughts, Dad, on that hire?
I'm a little bit skeptical because his main thing with his offensive play calling is the running game. So everything's going to go off the running game when we have a Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback that, and the receivers that need to get the ball. So I'm going to be curious. I'm not saying he can't get the job done. He's proven himself in the pros. I'm curious to see how it comes out.
Yeah, me too. I mean, having an NFL head coach, I think he was the head coach at Atlanta for the Falcons, and then he was the offense coordinator, obviously, for the Steelers. And like Dad said, he's known for the heavy power run game. So what does that mean for Jeremiah Smith? But also, doesn't that seem like you're putting a guy that has a lot of experience into a box of just the power run? I mean, he may be very good at the power run, and I think there's a lot of football coaches out there that are big fans of the power, big fat fans of the power run. But to run a successful offense, you got to have a pretty balanced approach. Mm-hmm. So I imagine, that's kind of naive to think we're just going to be a power run, but I do understand the concerns. But more importantly, though, you told me some stuff off camera here about the Buckeyes running back. Mm-hmm. And some shoulder surgery stuff. So what were you saying about that?
Yeah, Jackson and West are both going to be held out of spring practices. Nothing serious injuries. Just had a couple of shoulder surgeries that they had. they fed the rock a lot, especially Bo Jackson as a freshman.
Sure.
And having a brutal schedule like they did, and playing a caliber team like they did Miami, who reached the finals, and went up against Indiana, who was a juggernaut, and Ohio State went up against the juggernaut. When you go through that long of a season, you take blows and take blows, and Ohio State did a really good job of keeping those news silent. You know, they do a really good job of keeping it in-house, and I think that's the main thing at it. But when you talk about the season that Jackson had, and you talk about bringing in a run power-minded guy like Archer Smith coming in, we are all used to Ohio State being able to run the ball, no problem. And it seemed like the last so many years we kind of went away from that and went to the 5 wide, throw it, get the ball out to those extremely number 1 draft pick receivers. And it's worked out for them for many years. They ended up winning the championship, last year. This year they had a great run. Yes, you have number 4 and you have Jeremiah Smith. I think Ryan Day is going to make sure that his Heisman finalist, Julian Sayin will get the ball to number 4. But I think we need the run to set up the pass. And I think if we get a guy like Archer Smith in there to help that, I think that's going to open up the play calls. I think it's going to open up a lot more than what we see. And don't forget, when we played Oregon 2 years ago in the final or in the semifinals, I believe, we used Jeremiah Smith on a sweep a couple times. We kind of went away from that last year. Maybe they'll involve him more in the run game in those jet sweeps. You see that a lot now with RPO. I would say this playbook option is just going to get blown up. So a lot of good things I think is going to come from it.
For sure. And then, so we talked a little bit off camera about the minister of toughness, the athletic strength conditioning guy coming back. He's actually, he was hired on as the assistant, so he's going to stay there with Mickey Marotti, or Mariotti. But Schlegel coming back is another NFL guy. I mean, he was a strength and conditioning coach when Urban Meyer went down to Jacksonville, Jaguars. So there's just another, on top of Matt Patricia. And then there's a lot of prior players that have come back to make an impact on the coaching staff too. They got James Laurinaitis there and working with the linebackers. Tim Walton is working with the secondary. Devin Jordan, Nate Ebner, and CJ Barnett are also on the staff, all former Buckeyes. So with the mixture of former Buckeyes, former NFL experience, it just kind of helps, springboard them into the direction they've been going into. Also, the other thing is they have been a kind of a run team before in the past as well. I mean, if you think about Trevion Henderson and Judkins, I mean, they both made another huge impact in the NFL in the running game itself. So they have had a well-balanced offense attack. I don't see that changing much, but I think it's cool to get some alum on the coaching staff. That always adds some excitement. For sure. Some guys that know what it takes and know what the standard is, and helps hold the kids accountable. So it's gonna be exciting, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exciting.
And if you look at one thing we got to be excited for, and it was an unknown going into the year, was Julian Sayin. We had Howard that came in as a transfer because we had some young guys. And we kind of had a question mark on Julian Sayin. He was brought into the system for a reason. Nick Saban says he's an idiot for not playing him, get him off the practice squad. He showed what he could do. He was an NFL Heisman finalist. And if you look at the way college football has went the last 3 years, a quarterback has been in the college for less than 3 years, hasn't won the national championship. If you look at quarterbacks, a veteran quarterback has been the constant champion. You look at this year, you had those two guys, Mendoza, and you had the guy from Georgia, Carson Beck. Thank you. And then last year we had Will Howard and Riley Leonard. Those guys all had plenty of years under their belt, 3+ years for all of them. Some of them are 5 and 6. So having our Julian Sayin, who's had that experience, being the Heisman finalist, has got to even make our offense, the guy who leads it, the guy who calls everything, more excited. So our defense was lights out this year. We all can agree on that. We thought they played the best they've ever played in just coming off a national championship winning defense. Now we have an offensive-minded team. We added an offensive coordinator that was our question mark. We have a quarterback that is a veteran. We have the pieces falling into it. We just keep reloaded. We don't rebuild. We keep reloaded. And one guy I want to talk about here is what Ryan Day is really favored on, almost like Jared Smyer hype, who's been very quiet, is Legend Bay. Legend Bay, they're calling him the poor man's Tyreek Hill. He compares him to a lightning in the bottle is kind of his saying for this kid. He's so fast. He's a running back / receiver. He's the one that signed with Tennessee, and then he ultimately wanted to go to Ohio State all through and through, almost like Jeremiah Smith. He's going to be one of those another impact players in college football. You might make an impact right off the bat. You might make it the sophomore year because of how loaded that receiver core is. But they're going to get Bay on the field. Mark my words. He's going to be a ball hawk on the offensive side.
Is he a slot or is he outside?
Well, if you remember KJ Hill a couple years ago, how he was in the slot and he was doing a lot of great things, finding open holes. He's going to be kind of similar to that. He's kind of that hybrid back is what they're going to call him, where he's able to line up a receiver, almost like what we're fancy to of the wing tee when you have the running back that's close to the line, but you can motion him out. They're going to do a lot of screens, I'm sure, with him because he's so fast. He's a lightning in the bottle. Mark my words, he's going to make a difference in college football when he gets his playing time. So I'm super excited.
The number 2. Who do we have at number 2?
Are you speaking receivers wise?
Yeah. Going to receiver wise.
Well, we have Ennis coming back. He's going to be
more of a slot though, right?
He's more of a slot, yeah. So the number 2 going to replace Cornell Tate. It's going to be, since Mylan Graham left, and it's going to be that, I don't know, is Chris Henry Jr. going to take the number 2? Remember, he's a highly ranked rookie coming in. Yeah. They say he's ready. Maybe that's what they were okay with losing Graham and Porter and bringing him in. But they're loaded. They're always going to be loaded with the receivers. So
they got Devin McCune that they got in from he was a transfer. They says here they committed 23 days ago. So yes, he's a veteran playmaker. Add some depth, and then David Adolph is a junior as well. So
bringing some experience into with the younger Bay coming in and Chris Henry. But they're really high. If they're as high on Chris Henry Jr. as they were Jeremiah Smith, I think we're okay. I don't think we're have to worry that we're not going to reload.
Now I'm a little bit more nervous of the defense. I do think that we left some holes. I know that they did some defensive line transfer portal moves. So we got a couple Alabama transfer,
big time,
300-pound guy. So they're trying to address that. And then the secondary is looking a little different. We got a Florida State transfer, a Duke transfer there.
Mm-hmm.
And then our linebackers, who they going to be now with recent Styles gone? We have Peyton Pierce. He was the 3rd man last year. Wisconsin transfer. That's the dude you sent me a video on, Christian how do you say? Allegro,
maybe?
But the video, if the eye in this guy don't lie, this guy is a machine.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that. But there are a lot of unproven scarlet and gray wearing players at this point. So I'd like to see how they gel together. That's going to be probably... Linebacker's probably going to be the biggest question mark on the defense next year.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that it will go down in talent or whatever, but I'm just interested to see how that dynamic fits together.
Just the young guys getting their playing time, getting their experience, because when's the last time you remember a bad Ohio State team?
It's been a very long time.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, and when you talk about those linebackers, you got to remember we had Petty John, who was highly rated when we recruited him. He's coming in. He played some time last year as well. And then you got to remember that we've got Devin Sanchez. He got some playing time there against Miami, and he stepped up big. And then I believe they're bringing back, what's the cornerback they're bringing back? He's coming back for another year. I'm drawing a blank here. But you got Stover's brother, Garrett, who's going to be he was a redshirt freshman. He's going to step up, play some big time for us.
Is Stover's brother a tight end?
What'd you say?
Stover's brother, is he a tight end too?
No, he's actually a linebacker. So
on defensive side of the ball.
He's on the defensive side. And Matthews was the one.
Matthews
was the one that he's going to come back.
Him and Devin Sanchez will probably be your starting.
Yeah, your corners, and then you got the safety coming in from Duke or Florida State's one of them.
Terry Moore.
So they got some experience coming in. They're fill those gaps. And if anything, what we've seen from them bringing transfer portal guys in is hit. They've all hit. So
sure.
One thing,
Patricia's a magician, man. Yeah, I mean, he makes magic happen. That's for sure. Matt Patricia's the dude. I love everything about him. So I think he will be able to make those new pieces jive together.
I think so, yeah. But yeah, a lot of good things with the Buckeyes ending the year, not the way we wanted it, but obviously with the transfer portal, hire Archer Smith. I think that's a huge one to get him in there. I think Ryan Day is getting a look right now. I think he's looking at, I don't know, maybe he's getting with Smith and they're looking at kind of the offense again right now in the offseason, trying to fix that. I know the offensive line, they got bullied against Miami. Maybe that's something they want to work on, getting that fixed throughout the season.
In Indiana and against Indiana.
In Indiana, with
both of those teams got they won the battle up front, that's for sure. And that's what got them to the national championship game, if you ask me. That was a big part of it. So
yeah. And looking at some of those first round guys, we'll jump right in the NFL. I think at least 4 out of the 5 that I've talked about are going to go in the first round. Arvin Reese is probably going to be the highest one. Caleb Downs not too far behind him. Tate not too far behind him. McDonald's going to find his way up there. And then what about Cade Curry? The season he came off of the year before, he sat behind 2 studs, Tuamaloau and then Sawyer. 2 guys that made a name in college football being there. And Cade Curry he showed signs. Remember when they rotated in?
I do.
He was a beast. And then this year he showed that he was a beast. He showed like another defensive end that Ohio State's been used to with going back to Young and back to the Bosa's. So he kind of kept that tradition alive of being the D-line. But I think the D-line coach obviously being there is got to make Larry Johnson bringing recruits in, bringing these guys and coaching them to NFL caliber teams. If he's not an NFL caliber coach, I don't know what you call him at this point. He's a wizard.
That's a good point.
So, but a lot of good things in Ohio State. Browns, some new exciting news for the Browns.
Todd Monken, Dad, what are your thoughts?
I think it was a great hire, to be honest with you. He knows the front office. He was a coach under Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah.
If you look at his accomplishments everywhere he's been a winner. He has been on teams that were winners. He came from 2 national championships from Georgia. So the guy knows what he's doing. He's excited to be there. That's key, and he is excited to try, to get in working with Shedeur Sanders. Deshaun Watson, I think, is still in the mix, only because they're already paying him $42 billion or something this year. So you might as well get something out of your money.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel, I'm not sure. He might be on practice squad.
What do you make of the drama of the John Harbaugh trying to talk him out of it thing? Did you see any of that today on the news?
No.
It said it came out today that John Harbaugh actually tried to talk Monken out of taking the Cleveland job so he could bring him to the Giants. But I don't know if that's any more than just wanted him to be with the Giants or trying to talk him out of the Cleveland Browns altogether. I was just curious to see what you thought.
I didn't see any of that stuff. I don't really buy into any of that until I hear it from the Browns organization.
Yeah. Well, Monken did a great job in the Ravens offense, that's for sure. Helped Lamar Jackson reach MVP status. He's known for being tough and straightforward, so that kind of fits into the build and mold of the Cleveland Browns.
It crosses over to Shedeur Sanders. He's a kind of a scrambling, running kind of type quarterback, just like Lamar.
Oh, I see where your angle is on that. Yes,
connection there.
I do.
So I think calling correct offense for him, like he did with Lamar. Lamar never had a better year than he did last year offensively, passing the ball.
Sure.
So he's going to bring improvements to the program, and that's what we need. So I'm pretty excited about that hire. We got 2 first-round draft picks. Kind of curious to see exactly what they do there. The tackle class in this year's draft is not real strong. It's got like 2 top enders, and then it kind of drops off. The receivers, they got 3 or 4 receivers, but only 2 at the top end again, and then it starts dropping off. And that's the 2 needs the Browns need: tackles and receivers. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Yeah, I guess I haven't really looked at. Have you got either one of you looked at free agency?
I have. No, I haven't. I think the whole offseason and the Super Bowl, we've been kind of blinded with who's going to hire as the head coach. And I think that kind of, now that we know a head coach, we can kind of look at his philosophy. You know, you talked a little bit about Lamar Jackson. He was elite. He had elite passing accuracy, efficiency. He got his second MVP under him. He was 67 completion rate was 3,600 yards in 2023. And then 24, like Dad said, he threw for 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Had an incredible year. But the question is how much is that Lamar Jackson? You know, Lamar Jackson is different than Sanders. Different levels. Lamar Jackson is a highly recruited, highly player. You know, maybe Monken is the right guy for Sanders, you know, to bring him along. Maybe not. We'll have to see.
Mike Evans might be a free agent, by the way. He's kind of a win now type veteran. And then you got Jawan Jennings and Alec Pierce. Those are both going to be free agents here soon. That could be a number one. So,
you know, he did bring on Akron alum Danny Breyer, you know, to be the pass game coordinator. The Browns really didn't have a lot of passing. You know, they have an elite tight end that they drafted. They have elite running backs in Junkins that he kind of showed himself throughout the year. But they kind of haven't had explosive down yardage plays until Sanders came in. Maybe that fits Sanders. That's what we need is a pass game coordinator to help elevate his game. You know, but I think hiring...
Opinion. I have my opinion on that.
We'll go for it.
You know how most teams will scheme their wide receivers to get open? The Cleveland Browns seem to lack in that area. Their receivers aren't getting open. You know what I mean? It's like if the reason I'm saying that is because when Joe Flacco was the quarterback, he could move the offense efficiently and the receivers got plenty of balls. Right? Now, I'm not talking about last year. I'm talking about the year before or the year before that, whenever he was there for like 7 games or whatever, took him to the playoffs, right? We have the same exact receiving core except for the one receiver we got from the Jets. He just never materialized, but he did well under Flacco. You know what I mean? He looked good under Flacco, but no one else.
Robbie Anderson? Is that who you're talking about? Robbie Anderson?
No. Shoot.
it'll come back to us. I didn't mean to throw you off.
No, that's fine. I was just looking it up.
But as we'll circle back to that when you find it. But with all of the new head coaches, Monken being the biggest one for the Browns, but what about our rivals? With Pittsburgh, with them hiring Mike McCarthy. Does that relationship with Aaron Rodgers? Is that going to be something that's going to blossom there in Pittsburgh?
Well, did you hear about him crying during his press conference announcing he was the head coach?
I did not know.
Yeah,
I saw the video. Yeah.
First off, he is from Pittsburgh, so that's his hometown, and so that's a pretty exciting hire, I do believe. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to look a total differently. I think they're going to have a lot of new players, so I look for them to struggle at the beginning of the season next year until they get into the groove of the changes, and then we'll see a difference in them. But I think it's a good hire for them.
I think a surprising one, I think everyone, was John Harbaugh, leaving the Ravens and being there for as long as he was, and Super Bowl caliber and playoff contenders. It kind of fell off, but he made it. He made his new home, the New York Giants, and what a heck of a quarterback he's going to have in Jackson Dart, and what a heck of a receiver and Neighbors. So I'm interested to see the offense he's going to bring. Is this Harbaugh's?
Well, they have old CTE coming back too. Bohemian Rhapsody. No, who's the guy? The running back. Remember for the Giants? Dad.
I can't remember his name either.
He took Saquon Barkley's spot.
Yeah, so he was a crazy guy, remember? Scatterboo,
yeah. Coming back after an injury.
My prediction came true. I said that the kid will not make the season because he puts his body in awkward positions. That just trying to make something happen is all he's doing.
Yeah, we might see a more conservative Scatterboo this season.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So I don't know who Elijah Moore, by the way, was the name of that receiver from the Jets.
Yeah, Elijah Moore, and then we replaced him with another Jets receiver, a younger one, and his name was I'm trying to think. I think it was I had it here at one point. Malachi Corley. Malachi Corley. I'm hacking these names up. Malachi. Anyways, Corley was another one that he came from the Jets, just a little younger, but he was another big body receiver.
And then the last one I have is the Seahawks offensive coordinator, Clint. He's finding his new home in the Las Vegas Raiders. And what a mess it's been there. He's going to partner up with Tom Brady, and it looks like they're going to select number 1 Mendoza. That's probably going to be what's going to happen, and maybe that's what turns around Vegas's struggles. Because Geno Smith it's kind of funny, ironic how Geno Smith was with the Seahawks, did really well, and then he went to the Raiders and didn't do very well at all after that transition. So it's interesting to see if Mendoza is going to step up and be, because they're going to need him right away, I feel like.
Yeah.
But what shocks me a little bit is the Seahawks offense coordinator leaving just after 1 year with the team. Is that going to be a distraction? He can't leave until after. It can't be officially can't happen until after the Super Bowl because he's currently in preparation for the Seahawks. Is it going to be a distraction? I don't know. But it'd be something to keep your eye on. That's for sure.
I'm rooting for Sam. I'm pulling for him. I like the Patriots. I just think they're too young. I think they're a little bit young yet. I love Drake May. I mean, he looks awesome.
They are the underdogs. They're 4.5 points under is what it was looking like. A lot of analysts are predicting a dominant win by the Seahawks. I don't see it happening. Funny enough, 4.5 has been kind of the steady line for the last 4 or 5 Super Bowls. It's kind of funny. I seen a picture come up through social media, and it was 4.5 points for the last 8 or 9 Super Bowls. It's hit 75% of the time. So if you're a betting guy, that's something you keep your eye on. But one thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is that on the last 10 weeks of football, and where the Patriots have had the success is their defense has allowed an explosive play of 9.6% of the snaps. They've kept teams from doing that, where they just fall in front of the Seahawks at 10. So it's very close. But from week 10 to the whole playoffs, New England has been the better defensive team. Switch to the other side, the offense side of the ball. The offense ranks 4th in explosive play rates. Drake May brings that to attention, his long balls, where Seahawks is only ranking 8th. So right with the big plays, I think it's gonna need to be done in the Super Bowl. New England has the edge of the game. So I think it's gonna be a very close game. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm pulling for New England, of course. We were talking off camera a little bit. Was the matchup in the AFC Championship? If Bo Nix was there, would that have been a different game? If the snow didn't happen, would it have been a different game as well? Well, I'd like to hear your guys' comments on that.
I definitely think losing your starting quarterback going into the visual playoffs is a heart wrencher. Nothing against the backup quarterback. I thought he did a great job trying to fill in, doing the best he could, but it was just too many things. And then let's not take it away from the Pats, man. They played good ball. Yeah. So they're clicking. It's hard not to be a Vrabel fan right now. You know what I mean? So I'm happy for them. I'm happy for you. It is that I remember this Super Bowl in 2015 was the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots. I think this is when Russell Wilson got intercepted at the goal line, and there was some controversial stuff there. But nobody, not a single player or coach on either roster, is left from the 2015 matchup. So this is completely a whole new era. I think but if there's not one dude on it that was in that Super Bowl, so that was an interesting stat. It should be a good one, though. I definitely like what I've seen out of both teams this season, and I'm just glad it's not the Kansas City Chiefs. And to be honest with you, it's nice to see a couple of different teams in there every now and then.
Yeah. When you look at Super Bowl appearances, obviously New England's had their run. They've had 12 appearances. It's gonna be their 13th, where Seattle's only had 4. But if you look at Seattle's 4, they had it in 2005, 2005, 2013, and 2014, and now 2026. So, yes, Patriots have had the most Super Bowl appearances. Seattle's kind of came on the last, 20 years, 25 years. So they've kind of turned their page and being a franchise. But they're big news. Seattle just came up for they're coming up for sale after the Super Bowl. So I don't know. Is there something going behind the scenes that we don't know? Why sell your team when you've made it to the Super Bowl? This is your 5th appearance in 21 years. It's kind of a question mark there.
The value of the team is up.
Yeah, and maybe it's the time to sell.
So when it's a high, yeah. How about if I would have told you in the beginning of the year that Sam Darnold and Drake May would be playing in the Super Bowl, would you tell me that was on your bingo card?
For me, being a Patriots fan, yeah, I'd have to say New England could make it. Am I super shocked? Yes. The way they came off the 4 wins last year, 3 wins last year, whatever it was.
Yeah, 4-13.
Not very good. Now they're 14-3. I'm behind them. I think Drake May kind of proved himself in the NFL. I think Mike Vrabel bringing back and being a player's coach. It's kind of the same scheme with bringing back Mike McDaniels in there. It's his offense. But you got to give a lot of credit to the 2 quarterbacks. Sam Darnold, reliving his career after what he came through with Carolina. I think he was somewhere before Seattle as well. He was with the Minnesota Vikings, I believe. I think he kind of turned around there, and then he found the right scheme. I think it's all about finding the right scheme and having the right players and the right coaches fit. That's how you gel.
He's only 38 years old. Did you know that about Mike McDonald?
He's still a young guy.
Yeah. He's a young defensive guru, that's for sure. That's crazy. And then, Vrabel and the Buckeyes connection. I also think that he was the Belichick successor that everybody really wanted.
Yeah, a lot of good things. Obviously, I think I will make my prediction. I think New England will win. I think they cover the 4.5 points. I think Drake May is going to be the difference in the game. If you look at the playoffs and his AFC Championship, he did on his legs. He's smart enough where he's not forcing it anymore. He's got the arm strength. He can put the ball. The accuracy's there. But I'm telling you, if he finds a hole, he finds open white grass, he's going to take it. And if you watch him in the AFC Championship, he'll take off for 30 yards, and that's a game changer.
That is, that's definitely a threat. It'll be interesting. I got Seattle in this one, man. I really do. I think, I don't know if they cover the points. It might be a lot closer than 4.5, but I definitely think the Seahawks might be able to pull it out. So it'll be interesting. I have none either way. But after watching the 2 divisional playoff games, I think the Seattle looks a little stronger.
I'm glad you brought that up because if you look at Seattle and their defense, they gave up a lot of explosive plays.
This is true.
And again, that's a Stafford-led team. When Stafford had averaged, I think I saw like 269 yards, 270 yards a game. Very quiet, and that's why he's leading. I think going to probably end up winning the MVP this year because he's had the season he's had, and this is as close as he's had chances to get there. And I'm happy with he wins, obviously, as being a Patriots fan, and Stafford's been there and he's been through a lot. That'd be sweet to see him win it. Obviously, I want Drake May because of the year he's had in his second year and taking the team that went from 4 wins to 14 wins. You got to give a lot of credit for what he's did and stepped up in the NFL because when you're a rookie, it's tough. I think every rookie showed that. Caleb Williams turned it this year, taking his team in the second year. So I think that has something to kind of look at for voters. But yeah, I'd like to hear, what's your prediction, Dad, for the big Super Bowl?
I like Seattle. Like I said, I like New England, but I just think they're a little bit young yet. And I'm rooting for Sam. But I like Drake May. I really like the looks of him. The defense is solid. The offense is solid. They're a team that belongs in the Super Bowl. I didn't expect them to make it this year, but they did. I thought, truthfully, coming into the season, I thought New England was about a year away. But I think the difference in New England is the head coach. The defense got better. And the head coach had a lot to do with that. He's a defensive-minded coach, but he's a player's coach. If you watch him, at the end of the game, he makes sure he shakes everybody's hands as they come off the field. Or whatever. Handshakes, whatever. And so the players bought into him. You know what I mean? The players love him.
Oh, for sure. And I've seen videos of him at practice. He literally puts on pads and he's out there, he gets in there with the guys. Like, he's definitely a player's coach. So, I love everything about that, and I would not be disappointed if they win. I just think Jackson Smith, his route running, and Drake May is still a little young. I don't know if he can make it for the full quarter. That's a lot of pressure for full quarters, but either way, it'll be exciting to watch. Not looking forward to the halftime show, but I never have been. Never been a halftime show kind of guy, so I'm not that too worried about it. What about some of the other ones? Like, what color is going to be the Gatorade that gets dumped on the winning coach? They got...
I'm calling purple.
Right now, orange is plus 230, yellow and green is plus 250, and blue is 260. Purple's a much bigger payout. But right there, yeah, that's a bet that's out there on lock.
I like my underdogs, just like New England. Did you know that they're breaking a streak of 8 straight Super Bowls where they're favored? This breaks a record. So it's a historical note. Keep that in mind. They're an underdogs, and with Drake May, I'll take it.
Okay. And then the commercials.
I love commercials.
Can't forget about the Super Bowl commercials. I'm always excited about those. That's for sure.
The Clydesdale are my favorites.
I would like to see if someone has a statistic of go around and you ask questions like, do you watch the Super Bowl, or why do you watch the Super Bowl? Do you watch it for the game or the commercials halftime? I'd like to see the percentage of the time people say, I'm just watching it for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Or for the commercials in the Super Bowl, not actually the game.
The entertainment. A lot of people out there that are not avid football watchers, they're not probably watching this podcast, that's for sure. No. But there are people out there that definitely are there for the commercials, and that's okay too. I think that's what makes this game in particular is the most televised game and sporting event.
They call it
our country.
It's like the granddaddy of them all, almost.
And around the world, because obviously FIFA dominates. But in the United States, it's definitely going to be one of the most televised programs. Always brings out the best in families and stuff too sometimes, and food. So I'm hoping that there's some form of meatballs in the crock pie or some buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah, food has seemed to be something we always love talking about. And Super Bowl is probably one of the best times to kind of try those recipes. So if you've been saving them to your phone, you've been, there's a new app out there. We don't have any affiliation with that. We would love to, but they have it where you can save the recipe right to the app, and then it will have it for you all typed out. So if you got those recipes saved for snacks, halftime shows, whatever, this is the time to do it now.
Get making them, man. I'm excited about that too.
We would love to hear yours as well. So if you're watching this and you see this, throw your comments of your favorite meal, food, snack, whatever you want to call it, for the Super Bowl, for big parties.
I'd be interested to hear any comments or see any comments about your thoughts on what we talked about tonight too.
As well. So
Ohio State, the Browns got some exciting things going on, a lot of changes. And not everybody necessarily agrees with us the way we get, but that's your choice.
Before we check out, I want to bring up the fact of the passing of Lou Holtz.
Yes.
Very good point.
That was one great man, not just a great coach, but a great man.
Absolutely, yes.
And he's definitely going to be missed.
Well said. Yes, I think before we end it, I think college football, what they did for Lee Corso, his farewell as well. College game day is going to be different next year as well. Lou Holtz has showed a lot of appearances on that. I think having a farewell to him is going to be a great thing to start the year off. And I'm excited for football to come back. It's few days away in between, or somehow they say that. Before you know it, spring ball will be here. As soon as the Super Bowl's over on next Sunday, then you have the April draft. It's in Pittsburgh. We kind of hinted that we might go. We thought we might go over for like the Saturday. Maybe we just drive over, see the draft, be there, maybe do live look-in pictures, quick call-in,
Talk to some people there, just...
We have some connections in Pittsburgh. I think we might get lucky to find a cool spot.
We get that hotel we did the last time we went out to Pittsburgh for the golf outing. That was nice, where we could share a bed with Dad.
But yeah, I'm excited.
Lots of fun stuff coming. Hey, it looks like I wasn't sure. Is Lou Holtz, did he for sure pass, or was that because there was some rumor?
He passed. He was on in hospice.
Yeah, I did know that.
He was on his way to hospice and passed.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, that's a big loss.
This morning.
Yeah, that's a big loss to the college. Not that I don't think he was in great shape. And, these bodies are temporary. God didn't create us to live forever. In fact, he created us to live with him.
Yep.
And then with the creation of sin and everything has kind of threw that into a curve. So these bodies are temporary. And, but yeah, thoughts and prayers to Lou Holtz and his family for sure.
Yep.
But all right, hey, I think it was an awesome time. I'm glad we were able to get together. We're glad we were able to get the garages actually finally warmed up.
It finally warmed up. I think we're at 38 degrees? Is that what that says?
I think so. I don't know, but it's definitely warmed up. But it was good talking. I'm glad we could get an episode together. Dad, I hope you heal well, and we're praying for Patty and take good care of her. Just a phone call away, so give us a call if you need us to run anywhere or go to the store or anything.
It's a challenge. Our house wasn't wheelchair accessible. It is to a point. You can get her in and out of the house in one, and that's it. Then she has to get on the walker. She's been scooting around on that walker pretty good, hopping on one leg. So it's been a challenge, but it ain't been that bad. It's kind of nice having her around, actually.
Good. Well, we'll be interested to see your take here in the next podcast.
Food don't taste as good though.
Food does not taste the same.
So make sure you check back in and hear about the food.
We're going to skewer some of those menu items next time. So, hey, thanks for joining us.
Soup day tomorrow.
Soup day tomorrow. Good choice. As always, hit that like and subscribe button.
Yes, please share that.
Feel free to engage with some conversation in the comment thread. Keep it PG. Obviously, we're a Christian podcast. We enjoy all our listeners, and we'll see you next time.
Stay warm out there.
People identify who did it.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more, Ross?
Yeah, and usually,
I got my Uncle Dan coming in at 11:30 with his big old truck. Dad'll talk a little bit more about it.
Warmed up. Oh wait, almost not load.
It sharpens iron.
Yep.
Yeah.
3, look at that deal. 3, 2, 1. Guys, welcome back to the